What?
Program that says it's got a person's name for the national anthem. Is that someone singing it?
No, that is going to be a trumpet solo.
Oh, that's okay.
One of our teachers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that won't need to be mic'd. It'll be heard.
Yeah.
I'll definitely put the podium mic on, so with no mics on, it won't be heard on the stream.
Well, he's our choir director, so I'm not sure where he is going to be. It's him back there in the suit.
Oh, my mic here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sure he's not touching your stuff.
Sorry, hey, hands off.
Wide shot, and it'll take enough. It's not too long, maybe about 15 seconds or so. Not as fast as the A10 Mini. Oh, it just did that. Okay, then you can kind of just. Or what? Oh no, that battery pack is like 10 hours. Yeah, 10 hours of continuous. So we are good. Yeah, Glenn, that's you too.
please stand for the playing of our national anthem? Thank you, Noah. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the Sycamore graduation ceremony of 2022. I'm Diane Borgman, head of school here, and I'm really proud to be part of this important ceremony today. I've known all these kids for as long as they've been at Sycamore, and I've known some of them longer than that. I've watched them grow into the terrific young men and women that they are today, and I want us to take a look at how this class has grown here at Sycamore. So graduates, if you joined Sycamore in the early childhood division, will you please stand and stay standing? Now, if you joined in lower school, stand and stay standing. And now stand up if you joined in middle school. Okay, thank you. You can sit down. This is a very special group of kids. 64% of this class has been here since early childhood. Graduates, your parents and other family members are here to support you today, just like they have been all along. I really thank all of you for your patience, for your interest, for your support, for all these years, and for sharing your terrific kids with us. There are 28 families here today who are graduating either their last or only child from Sycamore. And I'd like those families to stand and be recognized. Thank you. Now, I'd like to leave the class of 2022 with a few thoughts, and the rest of you are free to listen in. I want to talk to you today about something that we're all pretty familiar with here at Sycamore, and that is geese. I want us to consider what we might learn from geese. We've had lots of exposure to geese. We know they're loud, obnoxious, mean, disruptive, frustrating. So why would I want us to think about geese as possible role models? Maybe we could learn something from geese. Well, there may be some things about geese and the way they live their lives that rise above their negative attributes. There are some lessons that I think we could all learn from geese, and I want to talk about 5 of them. The first one is geese fly in formation. As each goose flaps its wings, it creates an uplift for the other birds that follow. By flying in that V formation, geese add 71% greater flying range than if they were each flying alone. So what's our lesson? Sharing a common direction, a sense of community can get us where we're going more quickly and easily than if we were each flying alone. We survive and thrive on the thrust of one another. Successful teams fly in formation. Number 2, When a goose falls out of formation, it suddenly feels the drag and resistance of flying alone. It quickly moves back into formation to take advantage of the lifting power of the bird in front of it. So what's the lesson for us? Well, if we have as much sense as a goose, we'll stay in formation with those headed where we want to go. We can accept help, and we can give help to others. Number 3, geese flying in formation honk from behind to encourage those up front. In this case, honking is to encourage, not to complain. So our lesson is that the power of encouragement is great and leads to greater productivity. To stand by your heart and core values and encourage the heart and core values of others is the kind of encouragement that will cement any group's efforts. 4th, when the lead goose tires, it rotates back into the formation and another goose flies to the point position. So the lesson here, it pays to take turns and share the hard work of leadership. Like geese, people are interdependent, and profit from each other's skills and capabilities. We are stronger together. Finally, when a goose gets sick, wounded, or shot down, 2 geese drop out of formation and follow it down to help protect it. They stay with it until it either dies or is able to fly again. Then they launch out with the formation, or they catch up with the flock. So if we are as smart as geese, we'll stand by each other in difficult times as well as when we're strong. So maybe we can take some lessons from geese, not about being obnoxious and mean and disruptive, but about working together and encouraging each other and sharing the lead and taking care of one another and always honking from behind. You all are ready to take off on many new adventures. We've loved having you here at Sycamore, and we will certainly miss you. As you take your next steps, I want you to remember what Christopher Robin said to Pooh. You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. I wish you all a bright future and hope you'll come back and see us. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Catherine Pangan, the president of our Board of Trustees. Catherine has, on multiple occasions this year, shared her wisdom and encouragement and support with me, and I want to thank her for all she's done for Sycamore. Please welcome Catherine.
Thank you. Families, I was sitting in your seats 3 years ago yesterday, so I know how you're feeling right now. Bittersweet and happy at the same time. Class of 2022, I reached out to some of your teachers to ask how they would describe you. Are you ready to hear it? They said thoughtful, creative, driven, humble, kind, intellectual, funny, active, and leaders. And one teacher even stated, collectively, they are the most engaged group I have ever seen at Sycamore. That's wow. You'll have to find out who that teacher is, won't you? That's impressive. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we are honored to send deep congratulations, and we know you'll represent Sycamore well in your high school adventures and beyond. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Katie Baker. Katie has had a terrific inaugural year leading our middle school, and she has a few words for the graduates.
Thank you. Before I begin, graduates, I really would love for you to give yourselves a round of applause because you made it, you did it, we're here, it's awesome. So give yourselves a round of applause to take your meeting home. It is such a joy to share the stage with an amazing 8th grade class. I have known them and had the pleasure to be around them for many years. I was their teacher for many years, and now I'm the head of middle school. So as a class, they possess a diverse group of talents. Academically, they have accomplished a lot, but also among this group of young adults are wonderful writers, debaters, programmers, athletes, math whizzes, musicians, friends, leaders, and much, much more. They are simply great humans. Today is their day, a time for all of us to celebrate their accomplishments and achievements during their years at Sycamore. As I reflected upon the words of wisdom to impart on our last day together, a memory and memento of my high school graduation popped right into my mind. It was a simple mug that had a very simple phrase on it: bloom where you are planted. I have thought about and uttered these words countless times since my high school graduation. They are so simple, yet they mean so much, but also perfectly encapsulates your time here at Sycamore. First, the class of 2022 has cultivated the right mindset. They have established a set of attitudes that have helped them thrive. They appreciate the present, accept changes, choose to learn from their setbacks and mistakes. This class takes risks. They make unbelievable connections and works their hardest. Well, most of the time, right? They are confident, they are empathetic, they have integrity, they are curious, and they persevere. Second, the 8th graders have taken advantage of the opportunities they had at Sycamore, both academically, but along with personal and socially as well. They have vigorously flourished, and because of these opportunities, ones that have led them to finding and developing their passions, building relationships, discovering concepts they've never thought of, thinking about and realizing perspectives they've never considered, learning from risk-taking, finding and believing in themselves, progressing towards a goal despite the circumstance, and feeling the satisfaction of a job well done. And lastly, they've made the most of each day. I mean, all I have to say is COVID, right? Like, we lived through COVID here. They're a positive force from one day to the next. From meeting a first Sycamore friend and enjoying or avoiding naps and EC together, to finding pets in trees and rocks, enjoying deer time, going on field trips, flying around the tire swing with reckless abandon, and having Mrs. Stewart for 2 years in a row in lower school, to take it to the rounding the final corner in middle school and participating in abundance of extracurriculars, hanging in the Hagerman Commons, taking on the national stage in competitions, living with your Sycamore family on amazing land and sea field trips, creatively using paper in cohort rooms, paper chains, airplanes in the ceiling, learning online through Hangouts and Zoom, and consistently setting a great example for the rest of our student body to look up to. While you listen to our student speakers today, you will hear more about the amazing Sycamore experiences that have helped shape them into who they are today. But what connects them all together is the hard work, tenacity to learn, ambition, commitment to Sycamore's core values, respect, relationships, empathy, and moral courage, and appreciation of the value of experience. All of these characteristics will help you bloom where you plant yourself next, and the next place, and the place after that. Characteristics of thriving individuals. So Sycamore class of 2022, continue to bloom where you're planted every single day. Wherever you start from, find a way to live your best life. You'll have more opportunities and your world will be richer than you will ever imagined. You'll be successful and you'll also be happy. I look forward to hearing about all the great things you will accomplish in your future, the memories that you will continue to fondly remember of Sycamore, and what amazing humans you will continue to be, and how you will continually touch the lives of so many people. Congratulations, you did it. And now the combined choirs will sing a song to the 8th graders to recognize the many memories that they have had during their time at Sycamore.
but you're not, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here tonight, to the ones here today, to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back you. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain, when everything did forever, and everything would stay the same. Now my heart will December when somebody say your name, 'cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day. Hey, ooh, everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Hey, but everything will be alright. Go raise your voice and say, hey, here's to the ones that we got, to the ones that we can, to the wish you were here, but you're not, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here today, to the ones here today, to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back you. Do 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 do. Memories bring back you. There's a time that I remember when I never felt so lost, when I felt that all the hatred was too powerful to stop. Now my heart feels like an ember, and it's lighting up the dark. I'll carry this torches for you, that you know I'll never stop. Yeah, ooh, everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Hey, ooh, but everything will be alright. Go raise your voice and say, hey, here's to the ones that we got, to the ones that we got, to the wish you were here, but you're not, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here today, to the ones here today, to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back you. Do 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 do. Memories bring back you. Do 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 do. Memories bring back you. They bring back you. All the memories, all the memories bring you back. Memories bring back you.
There are 3 student speakers today that have prepared fantastic speeches. That is Shivani Desai, Justin Puno, and Sophia Liang. Please feel free to clap in between, but I'm not going to be introducing them individually. So, first up, Shivani Desai.
Hi, as Ms. Baker just said, I'm Shivani, and first I just want to say congratulations to all of us here, parents, faculty, staff, and of course my peers, the class of 2022. You're probably going to hear this a lot, but we made it. Through all of the science labs, the research modules, and language arts, the note-taking in history that gave us all major hand cramps, and the daily grind in math, more recently using Pear Deck, we successfully navigated the Sycamore path and earned our spots here today. It's bittersweet. Like you, part of me doesn't want this to end, while another part is excited to start new in high school. Also like you, I want to roll my car windows down and blast Taylor Swift in excitement because we made it. In fact, it was this feeling that made me realize that today, words won't be enough, so I'm going to use contemporary music to convey my feelings. In this very moment, I'm reminded of our particular Taylor Swift song that Profe used in one of his convocation speeches yesterday. And it goes like, but I keep cruising, can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be all right. And although that verse was from Shake It Off, as you probably guessed, none of us want to shake off Sycamore. That's not the intention of this speech. But her lyrics echo our past as we have overcome so many challenges and learned to keep moving forward. Unfortunately, during this process, we had the unending support from our parents, family, coaches, and friends. This whole Sycamore community grounded our aspirations, reminded us to soar, and turns our talents into a long list of accolades and achievements. Today, I'm thankful to everyone here, and I want to take a brief moment to highlight each of the major pillars that supported our path to success. First and foremost, I want to recognize the incredible teachers and staff that is one of the major pillars at Sycamore. Reflecting on the past, I'm in awe at what we have learned, accomplished, developed, and experienced through their unparalleled efforts. They've passed on their knowledge and wisdom to each student, leaving behind their legacy of academic greatness in all of us. While one speech cannot capture the full Sycamore teacher and staff spectrum and the mind-blowing challenges they presented to us, a few notables include the cadaver dissection with Mr. Schuth and Dr. Wendell in the 7th grade, where many of us, especially me, felt faint. When we were in awe at using a 3D printer with Mr. Lowell. Coaches Fink and French for staying calm with us while we behaved like a circus show in PE, and when we took way more than 3 steps in 3-step revenge. The anxiety-provoking court cases of 8th grade history with Justice Berger and Mr. Young, where we all dressed up in blazers, dresses, and suits. The discussions dissecting the depths of literature with Mrs. Corcoran and Mrs. Simpson. Trying to rush through math tests to be able to get to those challenging bonus problems provided by Mr. Keith, Mrs. Miltenberger, and sometimes Mr. T. Rehearsing and feeling the nerves for band concerts directed by Miss Johnson and Mr. Buchholz. Miss Baker and Mrs. Borgman for making Sycamore such an amazing community. Eating frozen tree buds last year with Miss Stitchley and going to the art room to study during study hall to Miss Borgman this year. And finally, this list can't be complete without Profe's limitless perseverance to help teach all of us that triptangos are illegal in Spanish. And the list goes on. Adding more fuel to this fire beyond the school commitment, these teachers showed their deep dedication even after school for our further enrichment with activities such as 1. Highly competitive math team and math counts hosted by Mr. T, sometimes more than 3 times a week. And that's not counting the hundreds of contest and challenge problems they made for us over the past few years. 2. Mrs. Simpson's victorious debate team, as highlighted by hosting debate tournaments on multiple Saturdays, which took more than 6 hours. 3. Mr. Keith's blood and sweat to help Sycamore students rank nationally in Vex Worlds this year, which was held in Dallas. 4. Miss Mim and Mrs. Cummins' initiatives and Spelling Bowl and their national recognition. 5. Mr. Young supervising Academic Bowl and Mr. Schuth's Science Bowl. 6. Mrs. Corcoran directing our first school play this year of Shrek. 7. Planning school events and Student Leadership Council with Mrs. Hayden and Mrs. Moulter. 8. The wide breadth of after-school activities available to us, from tennis to track to volleyball to basketball. And finally, all the teachers that helped plan our 8th grade events, even if some of them didn't go according to plan, like when the fire truck showed up to our 8th grade dance. So, as you can see, the sheer variety and challenges offered to students at Sycamore are a direct testament of the high bars that our teachers hold for themselves. Many of us have shared extreme anxiety directly facing these challenges. And an example of this rigorous discipline went back as far as my Course 2 class with Mr. Keith in the 5th grade. This example is nicely highlighted by some more words again from Taylor Swift when she said, "I've got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name." But maybe not so much. Instead of helping put our names in the upper right corner during 5th grade because we forgot to, Mr. Keith would just take a point off of our assignments. We learned through this rigor and lesson that every detail matters in academics. So thank you to all the teachers for preparing us and teaching us valuable lessons, like how to put your name in the right-hand corner of a paper. Through this process, it was amazing how much confidence we quickly developed and blossomed academically. And while we have yet to appreciate our hard work through middle school, built gradually over years at Sycamore, we'll most cherish all of the daily routines with our teachers, things such as the daily hallway nods and chatter with Mr. Young, translating the lyrics of bachata and fukuoka with Profe, and singing it at almost every 8th grade event, listening to Mr. Buchholz skillfully whistle as he strolls down the hallway, And finally, Mr. Schuth and his random humming during class, whether we're taking a quiz or failing at constructing a lever during physics. The second pillar in our journey stems from our parents and family. First, thank you for investing in us. I'm sure the post-tax income could have been spent for many other comforts. But you trusted us with those hard-work dollars, and for that we'll be eternally grateful. We hope to make you proud. You've given us the love and confidence that builds our unique and wonderful identities. You've taught us the meaning of right and wrong when we were younger, and patience as we got older. The path wasn't always so smooth, of course. I'm reminded of yet another Taylor Swift song when I think of my own parents. Words I often heard, especially as we turned older into middle school, were, "You need to calm down," or "You're being too loud." While I'm sure that this last verse was echoed repeatedly to us by our loved ones, our response was nicely captured by Fresh Prince when he sung, "You know, parents are the same, no matter time nor place. They don't understand that us kids are going to make some mistakes. So to you, all the kids across the land, there's no need to argue. Parents just don't understand." No, but seriously, aside from helping us separate our sometimes boiling emotions from logic, our families have supported us through all the procrastination of studying for tests, driving us from one after-school activity to another, and continually keeping pace with our ever-changing fashion and attire. So as I look ahead at high school, I know how nervous you parents must be as we kids become independent young adults. But I can say confidently on behalf of all my peers that you don't need to be anxious. You've inscribed your values and beliefs deep into our brains, and hearts hopefully, and we hope that will always make you proud. And now, to the final pillar, my classmates and friends. I want to start with the lyrics to the most iconic song that our grade has known since our Tremont trip in 5th grade. Tremont of mine, bum, 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 field trips never felt so good. This song perfectly captures our deep connections and comfort that we've had with each other since middle school started. I remember how wide-eyed and nervous we were in 5th grade compared to the then 8th graders, especially when I kept getting lost in the hallway and trampled by the 8th graders on the first week of school. And now, reaching the top of the totem pole during 8th grade felt great. We're the bosses finally. And there's so much to say to you and not enough space or time. We've helped each other grow so much and jump through so many hurdles together. The best representation of our relationship as a class was the paper chain we constructed last year in the class of 7R. Each link of the paper chain was built from a small strip of loose leaf paper that was glued onto another link, and each link had a signature of one person in our class. The links were connected to one another, creating a circle chain. Like the chain, we'll always be connected. Even if we don't see each other daily and we're not even in the same state, we'll always have memories of one another that will live on. We'll never forget our amazing times during our trips to Tremont, Marine Lab, and DC, and we'll especially remember the rap battle where Mr. Young very clearly emerged victorious over Ford. Sorry, Ford. Over the years, we shared our likes and dislikes, our joys and sorrows, our growing pains and accolades, as well as our strengths and vulnerabilities. Through all this chaos, we managed to cultivate close friendships, ones that I know will last a lifetime. So in closing, success requires opportunities that are firmly supported by these three major pillars. Despite the multitude of challenges that we've faced together over the past few years, this one common thread that we all shared was the unlimited opportunities provided to us by the Sycamore community. They've left our doors wide open, and the sky is truly the limit for all of us. Our potential is infinite, and we have so many people to thank. With that in mind, I want to close with some fabulous words from a Grammy-winning artist who you may have heard of called Eminem when he rapped. And I can't rap, so I'm just going to say it. You better lose yourself in the music the moment. You own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Justin Puno, and today it is my privilege to welcome teachers, faculty, family, and peers this afternoon to the 8th grade class of 2022 graduation. Before I begin my speech, I would like to thank Mrs. Borgman for the incredible work she has done leading our school throughout her time here. I would also like to extend my thanks to all the teachers who have helped and continue to help develop and better the students here at Sycamore. Finally, I would like to thank my family who have helped guide me all throughout my life. Even before I joined Sycamore in the 1st grade, my parents had already told me this school was going to be special, something new that I had never experienced before. And although these phrases had been constantly repeated to me, it was only when I came to that first day of school in 2014 that I truly understood what they meant. I distinctly remember that first morning. My parents had held my hand all the way to the classroom as I wandered the halls of the place I would grow to call home for the next 8 years. Waved me goodbye. Looking around the room, I could see characters from Charles Schultz's Peanuts, a telltale sign of Mrs. Stewart's classroom. Frozen, I examined the room. There was a stark contrast between the classroom I now gazed at and the one of my old school in Greenwood. Pencils and markers were laid out at every table. Mrs. Stewart welcomed each student with a bright smile, and my desk even had my very own name on it. From that moment I knew this was where I belonged. 1st grade passed in the blink of an eye. That year, I had changed from the new kid at school, someone scared to say hello, let alone do an activity with another classmate or play with them at recess, to being comfortable with everybody in my grade, feeling like I belonged to a tight-knit community. As I continued to progress through lower school, I made many incredible memories. I remember the tile cards Mrs. Hendry gave us in 1st grade, Mrs. Fullwider's large posters of Wumbers on the wall, learning cursive with Mrs. McKay, and going on our first overnight field trip to Camp Tecumseh during our trails to us during our last lower school meeting, that I truly realized how much I had grown. During my first 4 years here, Sycamore transformed from an unknown place, filled with uncertainty and obstacles, to a place that I was proud to call my school. Yet, as I headed into middle school, that same type of fear that had plagued me in 1st grade reappeared. There would be new teachers, new classes, and new difficulties. But this time, something was different. This time, I had my friends with me, every step of the way. When I returned to Sycamore in the fall of 2018, I was in a new hallway. I had a locker, and our class had gone from the oldest kids in the hall to the youngest. This dynamic shift left me somewhat disoriented as middle school began. However, just like in lower school, I was quickly comforted, not only by my peers, but also by Mrs. Simpson, as she welcomed us to our first period in middle school before nearly falling over as class started. Once I had gotten my bearings, I opened my eyes to see what middle school truly was. Middle school presented new challenges, but also new opportunities. We were introduced to all the extracurricular options Sycamore had at the start of 5th grade. Some people were interested in the sports offered to us, or VEX robotics. However, I was entranced by the math team. I would spend hours upon hours in Mr. T's room after school, and although I grew my mathematical abilities, it was the connections I made with other students and how I developed as a person that were the true benefits of the time and effort that I put in. Each one of us at this stage has our own niche, some activity that we enjoy and spend so much time doing, to learn, to grow, and to be better people. While lower school was about finding myself and fitting in at Sycamore, middle school was about thriving. I became engrossed in many activities, both athletic and academic. These extracurriculars helped me to befriend many people, and the bonds I made here will certainly outlast my time at Sycamore. Like lower school, middle school created a multitude of memories, especially on our overnight field trips. In 5th grade, we visited Tremont, hiked in the Smoky Mountains, made rock paint, and performed at the talent show. In 6th grade, we visited Key Largo. Every day, we would sit on the benches and watch the sun rise together, all as a class. And even recently, when Mr. Young rapped about Thomas Jefferson outside of National Park during our first night in Washington, D.C. But it was not only our class trips that created memories. I will never forget Mr. Lowell's fun and unique coding challenges with his Spheros, Mrs. Miltenberger's panda stickers that she gave out after tests, and how Miss Mim always saved Halloween for a viewing of Ichabod Crane. All of these are times that I will fondly look back on. Theodore Geisel once said, "You will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory." However, the truth is, I knew the value of the moments I had here at Sycamore. I just never believed that one day they would turn into memories. Congratulations, class of 2022. No matter where we go or what we do, the memories we share will always bring us back together again. Thank you.
I was feeling a bit nervous, but Katie just told me I was going to slay, so I'm feeling pretty good. Good afternoon, families, teachers, administrators, and classmates. As I sat down to write a speech for you all today, after hours of thinking, the magnificent, profound idea that came to mind was, writing a graduation speech is no joke. I mean, seriously, this stuff is hard. Jam-packing 10 years of my life into mere minutes seemed like an impossible task. So, to aid in the process of writing such a speech, I tried to pinpoint my favorite thing about Sycamore. Shockingly enough, it actually wasn't begging Mr. Schuth for extra credit when we collectively flunked his first physics test. It wasn't getting a good grade on that math test I spent all night studying for. And to be honest, it wasn't even any part of the exceptional education I've received here at Sycamore. Instead, it was our relationships we have made with each other and the experiences, both good and bad, that we have shared. Over our years here at Sycamore, our class has truly bonded and grown like no other. And while getting closer is a gradual process, there were some very special moments that accelerated our grade from acquaintanceship to friendship. With each of these moments also came a lesson. Today, I'll be sharing some of those lessons with you. Lesson number 1, sometimes you need to break things to build things. Literally. If you're confused, let me backtrack a bit. Imagine 42 prepubescent crazy kids about to go on their very first entire grade plane ride to the balmy, beautiful Florida Keys. Naturally, this slightly out-of-hand group drew many strange looks from onlookers at the airport. This still didn't discourage us, however, from having the absolute time of our lives, from the moment that we took off to the moment that our bus arrived on Marine Lab grounds. Little did we know that over the course of that trip, our grade would become closer than ever. For the next 5 days, we would create fantastic memories together. We played volleyball in the courtyard, saw almost too many manatees, fought to get off the boats as fast as possible just to snag a shower, ran into some near-death experiences with jellyfish since somebody agitated the ground with his flippers. I'm looking at you, Wesley. And had delicious food, which to this day, I'm not sure whether or not was actually good or whether we were just incredibly hungry. For those 5 days in paradise, it felt as though nothing really mattered, and that any barriers that kept our grades separate had now been broken down. It didn't matter what social circle you were in at school, if you had any rivalries with others, or even, believe it or not, whether you were a girl or a boy. This was a big deal back then. For those precious 5 days, to quote Barney, we were just one big happy family. And so, as a family, every morning, we would go to sit on a bench next to the ocean and watch the sunrise. Like every other day before that, on our last day, we once again gathered at that same bench to watch the sun peek out from the horizon line. At that moment, all was peaceful. That was until we started to hear the sound of pebbles shifting, and before we knew it, us and the bench were all slipping and sliding towards the ocean. Though I am being a bit dramatic, by the end of the ordeal, we were left with some very panicked students and one very broken bench. While we may not have realized it then, our experiences at Marine Lab showed us that sometimes you need to get past your differences and break down barriers or benches that stand between you and friendship with others. Lesson number 2, build your friendships like a paper chain. Our 7th grade year was what I would like to call the era of confinement, due to our being in the same room for the entire year. It's safe to say that from a proximity standpoint, our grade had become much, much closer. It was during this time that a paper chain began to form in the band room cohort. That's right, while the other class was throwing paper airplanes into the ceiling and suffocating Pete the cat, we were building a large paper chain. Evidently, our grade had a bit of a thing for fire hazards. With paper, scissors, and glue, link by link, our chain grew longer. What began as just a fun pastime for a few eventually grew into a class-wide phenomenon, and soon enough, all of us were taking part in the paper chain. Whenever our precious chain broke, a collective would be heard, quickly followed by chain medics, armed with glue, scissors, and even more paper, ready to put the chain back together again. Even our teachers helped. Thanks to Coach Fink's 6'2" frame, we were able to string the paper chain all the way to the ceiling. Thank you, Coach Fink. The reason I'm telling you all about this chain is because, though perhaps unintentional, it was exactly like our class's friendship. All of us, like the links in a chain, connect with each other to form what is our grade's bond. Whenever a problem arises, we always work as fast as possible to fix it. Our teachers, while they may not be graduating with us, are just as much a part of our family as anybody else. Without their support, without them lifting us up when times were tough, we would never have arrived to where we are today. So, as you continue to make new friends in high school, I hope you put as much effort into your friendships as we did into that paper chain, and never forget those who supported you along the way. Sorry, give me 1 second. My throat is drier than Mr. Schuth's humor. Okay, we're back. Lesson number 3, walk up, don't stand on escalators. I'm pretty sure most of you know where this is going. Probably the highlight of our 8th grade year has been going on the DC trip. From learning that Mr. Young is a rap god to realizing that the National Mall is not an actual mall, for 3 days, we immersed ourselves in the history of our nation and had fun while doing it. However, there was one thing about the trip that was very unexpected. It was receiving some sage advice. You see, we had just arrived in Washington and were on our way out of the airport to meet our driver Kurt at his bus, or as he liked to call it, the deluxe luxury passenger motor coach. It was then, as we stood there on an escalator leading us to the exit, that we received some advice from the one and only anime sock-wearing, Spanish-speaking, Wolfpack enthusiast Prof. Fitzsimmons. Those who stand on escalators wait for life to come to them. Those who walk up escalators take life by the horns. While seemingly just a joke, these words actually did ring quite true for me. So, as we journey into high school, I encourage you all to seize every opportunity that comes at you and never stop running up life's many escalators. Lesson number 4, sing like nobody's listening. Also, for those in the back who are about to fall asleep, there's no need to worry. This is the last lesson. I'm looking at you, 6th graders. For any parents or teachers who have been on class trips with us, you probably know that Sweet Caroline is a staple of our class's singing repertoire. Ever since Dr. Henry's hit parody of Sweet Caroline, affectionately called Trima of Mine, we've been hooked. At every campfire, every dance, every trip, you can hear a class belting Sweet Caroline at the top of our lungs. Sure, our singing definitely isn't perfect, but it's each individual voice, good or bad, that makes our Sweet Caroline that much sweeter. Yes, it's a rare event for me to sing at the top of my lungs and not worry about what people will think of me, or imagine what embarrassing stories may be spread the next day. Still, the safe environment that Sycamore offers has taught me to just be myself, regardless of what others think. High school is undoubtedly a very stressful environment, and it can be a judgmental one too. But for the sake of your own happiness, I recommend that you do the following. No matter what other people say, stay true to who you are. Just keep on dancing like nobody's watching, and belting Sweet Caroline like nobody's listening. We finally made it through all of those lessons. Of course, none of this would even be possible without our teachers. Thank you all for supporting us throughout our Sycamore journey. There's something I will miss about each and every one of you, which makes Sycamore just that much harder to leave. Mrs. Simpson, I will miss your warm smile and your hugs when I'm feeling down. Seriously, you give the best hugs. Mrs. Miltonberger, I will miss your endless love of pandas and for making math class fun, which, to be honest, I didn't even think was possible. Mr. Lowell, I will miss the crazy fun challenges that we did in your class, along with the cotton candy party prizes. Miss Mim, I'll miss the way that we mummified that chicken in 6th grade concert. Mr. Buckles, I'll miss your compliance with our requests, no matter how crazy they are. Although you have to admit that Caterpillar with our choreographed moves was truly a masterpiece to behold. Mrs. Corcoran, I will miss the hilarious writing challenges that we did, along with the freedom that we had when making our Crucible parodies. I hope that you never forget ours. Actually, I know you'll never forget ours. Profe, I'll miss how much my Spanish improved under your teaching, as well as your funny, sagacious nature. Also, not to be forgotten, your guitar and singing skills, which seem to fit in their very own elite category of musical prowess. Mrs. Multer, I will miss your reading rumble competitions and your candy bribery for taking the NLAL. Mrs. Berger, or rather Justice Berger, I will miss your thorough understanding of the law and interrogations during oral arguments. Mr. Young, I'll miss wordling with you and your never-failing rigid flexibility in class. You're welcome, Vidatri. Mr. T, I will miss the help that you always offered and your dedication to the math program here at Sycamore. Without you here, our math program would truly not be the same. Mrs. Baker and Mrs. Borgman, I will miss the way you ran our school so smoothly, even through some very difficult times. Mrs. Cummins, I will miss your silent but strong helpfulness in math class. Mrs. Ditchley, I will miss how you let us interpret art in our very own way. Coach Fink and Coach French, I will miss the exciting games that we played during PE, which forced me into some much-needed exercise. Mr. Keith, I will miss your kind composure even when we annoyed you during Vex. Also for responding every time I say hi to you in the hallway. Mr. Schuth, I will miss your lightning-fast lectures, your singing that fills the halls, your mildly concerning bacon obsession, and a more recent addition, your pickle ASMR. Dr. Wendell, I'll miss your epic science lab demonstrations, especially when we got to talk, or for some of us yell Owen, while on helium. There are so many more teachers I would love to include, but then this speech would last until tomorrow. So for your sake and mine, I'll stop here. I'd like to extend many thanks to our parents. Thank you for supporting us through thick and thin and playing a very smart move by enrolling us here at Sycamore. Before I close out my speech, can we please get a round of applause for all of the teachers and parents that have made this Sycamore journey one like no other. And finally, to my class of 2022, I will miss all of our moments together. I'll miss laughing with you and singing with you, crying with you and hurting with you. I will miss all of your unapologetic opinions and honesty. Perhaps against my better judgment, I will miss the way that Alex commissioned a toddler to throw a soccer ball at me, and Rady and I's band, which we affectionately called Soundless. I will miss the way that we say thank you, our chatter between classes, our late-night Gartic phone sessions with questionable appropriateness thanks to you, Will. I'll miss all of it. But most of all, I'll miss all of you. Winnie the Pooh once said that a day without laughter is a day wasted. Well, thanks to you guys, I haven't had any wasted days. You may be expecting me to say something like, all good things must come to an end, or it's been nice knowing you, but we're never going to see each other again. But this really isn't the end. While we are going to different high schools, one thing will never change, and that's our connection to Sycamore and to each other. We all have made so many good memories here and accomplished so much, so that now I can finally say, Sycamore Class of 2022, we made it.
Thank you, Shivani, Justin, and Sophie. Now I would like to introduce Kaya Starnino, who will be singing an original song.
Sorry. Okay. You were the sun and I was the moon, and in the starry skies we faced all the gloom with a smile worth a while that was saved us from the doom. Together we made the sun and the moon. Once upon a time, there were two friends who thought they would be together until the very end. But one day one was gone, the other left alone. I don't wanna go, you're the only one I've ever known. You are the sun and I am the moon, and in the starry skies we face all the gloom with a smile worth the while that saved us from the doom. Together we make the sun and the moon. My best friend, you mean the world to me. Yes, we will keep laughing for eternity, and I'll try not to cry, 'cause we have to say goodbye. But no matter how far, we'll never be apart. You are the sun and I am the moon, and in the starry skies. We'll face all the gloom with a smile worth the while that will save us from the doom. Together we'll make the sun and the moon, the sun and the moon.
And now the gifts for the graduates. Audrey Zakwea Alberts. Hasani Amati. Alex Chang. Evelyn Cunningham. Shivani Desai. Kavya Devrapali. Will Eaton. Anna Maria Christina Ebersol. Arne Garian. Liam Alexander Hendry. Sarah Hinchman. Jennifer Z. Hugh. Garrett Ryan Herr. Oscar Hyatt. Badatri Iyer. Connor Casina Merrill. Nick Kahi. Deke Candle. Katie Kaplan. Crawford Lee. Sophia Pachua Leung. Samuel Luke Christian Lewis. Lily Grace Martinson. Addie Moeller. Evelyn Murray. Rishi Nagareddy. Caitlin Park. Julius Jacob Painter. Justin Puno. Kelsey Remmel. Mukund Sagi. Daniel Sajak. Leo Snyderman. Kaya Starnino. Annabelle Swearingen. Lillian Tabor. Rithi Reddy Tandra. Julia Watson. Benjamin Way. Adam Wilkerson. Wesley Wong. Owen Zhang. Let's give our graduates another round of applause, please. And now we get to enjoy an incredible video that Oscar Hyatt, Alex Chang, Ford Lee, and Daniel Sajak made to honor the class of 2022. 8th grade, would you please go back to the bleachers so you can enjoy the video yourself?
Okay. Congratulations to everyone, students, faculty, parents, for a job well done. Students, your parents and other family members are here today to support you like they've been here all along, and I want you to give them a big thank you. So on the count of 3, will you thank your parents? 1, 2, 3. We're going to miss all of you guys. We hope you'll come back and see us often. Thanks to all of you for being here to join this celebration. We're going to close by singing our great Sycamore. If you don't know the words, they're printed on the back of your program. Then our newest alumni will recess, and I hope you'll join us in the theater lobby for a reception. It's been wonderful having you here. Thank you for a great year. Please stand.